Shalom, shalom. Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kodash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Salakia. Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai. Bahashem, meaning coming in the name. Ba means coming in. Ha means the. Sham means name. Rakah means spirit. Kodash meaning holy. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers that are scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. Double honors to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, and double honors to the elders and the apostles and bishops who will well and teach well, because those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. And shalom to you, sincere sisters that's listening in silence as the scriptures command you to do so. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah, and pretty much we're going to go into Daniel chapter 2, and we're going to break down we're going to start in 2, and we're going to start at verse 31. So pretty much we're going to go into the vision of dream that Nebuchadnezzar had when he pretty much had a vision of the image that you hear, that you see. So this is a pretty long breakdown. So I'm just going to break down what the gold, the silver, the brass, the iron, and the iron and clay is. Okay. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing. I'm just going to break down what this is all talking about here. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. This is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 31. So we're going to go straight into Nebuchadnezzar's dream that he had about the image statue. All right. This is Daniel 2 and 31. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. It says, Thou king sawest, and behold, a great image. It says, The great image whose brightness was excellent stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. Verse 32, it says, The image's head was of fine gold. All right, that image head there that talks about that fine gold, that's talking about the Babylonian Empire. That's that gold. That was the start of the vision of Daniel the prophet, right? That was the beginning of Daniel 7, right? Using, that as an example, which we're going to go into. It says the image's head was of fine gold. That's talking about the Babylonian Empire. It says his breast and his arms as silver. That's talking about the Medo-Persian Empire, which is that silver, right? And then it says, and his belly and his thighs of brass. That's talking about the Greek Empire. And it says his legs of iron. That's talking about the Roman Empire. And it says his feet part of iron and of clay, and that's going into the divided kingdoms, which is also the revival of the Roman Empire. Okay, but we're gonna break this down. Let's keep going. Verse 35, and it says, Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer thrush floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and fulfilled the whole earth. Verse 36, because we're just going to get to the main point. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Verse 37, Thou the king art a king of kings, for the Most High of heaven have given thee a kingdom, power, glory, and strength. Verse 38, it says, Wheresoever the children of men dwell, the breasts of the field, the beasts of the field, so like the beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven, it says, have given into thine hand, and have made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. Okay, so the Babylonian Empire was the head of gold, which was the start of this vision. Okay, and we can use that going to Daniel 7. We're going to prove that because in Daniel 7, this is Daniel 7, and we'll start at, I'll start at verse 1. This is Daniel 7 and 1. It says, In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon the bed. It says, then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. So, you know who King Belshazzar is. King Belshazzar was the last king to rule in Babylon. Okay, he was the last king to rule in Babylon. And, he was killed by Darius the Mede. When you go to Daniel, the 5th chapter, and you can go there, read, starting at verse, I'll say 22, and read down. King Belshazzar got killed by Darius the Mede. But yeah, King Belshazzar was the last king to rule in Babylon. And it says Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed, right? And it says, and he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter. It's just like what brothers do in this truth. They have visions, they have dreams, they tell the sum of the matter. They tell what they saw, how the dream was, etc. That's exactly what Daniel saw. This is Daniel 7:2. It says, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. In the great sea, that's talking about the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, verse 3, and it says the four beasts. It says, and the 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one to another. Okay, so the 4 beasts is a representation of the 4 major empires, which are the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire. And if you want to go down to Daniel 7 and 17, it talks about that. So that's what those 4 beasts is representing here. It says the first was like a lion, right, and had eagle's wings. This is talking about the Babylonian Empire, which is right there, the eagle's wings. That's talking about the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrian Empire ruled Babylon during that time. Okay, the Assyrian Empire ruled Babylon during that time. Okay, but then they fell to the Babylonians. Okay, you had Nebuchadnezzar and them coming in, exactly, and it's going to go into that right here. Verse 4, it says, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. You see that? And the eagle, it says the first was like a lion and had eagle wings. That's talking about the Assyrian Empire. Okay, it says I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, because that was the rising of the Babylonian Empire. The Babylonians came in there and took down the Assyrian Empire. Okay, the Assyrian Empire fell to the Babylonian Empire. Okay, so this is talking about the Assyrian Babylonian Empire. Okay, the Babylonians took over the Assyrian Empire in 586 BC. Okay, and the Assyrians were the original kings of Babylon back then. Going to I forgot how to say his name. Salakia if I mispronounce it. His name was Ashurbanipal. Brothers can look him up. He was around 627 BC. Ashurbanipal. Okay, and during that time, he was ruling Babylon. All right, during that time. But you had Nebuchadnezzar that came in, the Babylonian Empire. They came in and took down the Assyrian Empire. So that gold there, that's talking about the Babylonian Empire. Let's read again. Daniel 7:4, it says the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. It says, I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. This is talking about the rising of the Babylonian Empire. All right, the Babylonians came in, right? It says, and it was lifted up from the earth, right? This is talking about the rising of the Babylonian Empire, and made stand upon the feet as a man. This is talking about Nebuchadnezzar. It says, and a man's heart was given unto it. Okay, this is talking about Nebuchadnezzar, because in that time, Nebuchadnezzar, he was a power of might. People was inferior to Nebuchadnezzar. He was great in that time, right? So you had the Assyrian Empire, right? And then the Babylonians came in and took over the Assyrian Empire. So that's one empire. That's the Babylonian Empire, which is talking about, as you can see here, Babylon Empire, right? The lion. So the gold, the head of gold, that's talking about the Babylonian Empire, which is the lion, right? Which was from 539 BC to 605 BC, or 605 BC to 539 BC. Okay, verse 5. And it says, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, right? It says, and it was it was raised up itself on one side. Now this is talking about the Medo-Persian Empire. So you had the Medes that came first, and then the Persians, okay, which we're going to get out. Salakia. Daniel 7:5, it says, "Behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side." You see that? And it's raised up on one side because the Medes came and then the Persians came. But the Persians, they were mightier than the Medes. Okay? The Medes, they were mighty, but the Persians was mightier. Okay? And it says, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And this is going into the locations that they went. They went northward, westward, and southward. And the three cities that they first conquered, brothers can correct me, elders, brothers correct me, but I believe it was Media, Libya. I always get the last one. I can't think to come to mind. I think it was Media, Libya, and Media, Libya. Salakia, brothers. I think it was Media, Libya. I can't think of it right now, but I know it was Media, Libya, and Media, Libya, and Babylonia. Salakia. Media, Libya, and Babylonia. Salakia. Yeah, those were the ones that those were the first cities that they conquered in those areas. Okay. Salakia. Media, Libya, and Babylonia. Okay. So let's read the rest of this. And it says, and they said, thus unto it arise, devour much flesh, because they were mighty. So now we're going to go here and we're going to prove it. And this is Daniel 8:2. I'll start at verse 2. It says, and I saw in a vision, see, and this is the vision that prophet Daniel saw. But he also in Daniel 7 had a vision talking about that bear, right? The second was like a bear, right? And he had three ribs in the mouth of it. That's talking about the Medo-Persian Empire, which is this is the same thing that he's going into here. He's talking about the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, so in this vision here, he sees it as a ram, right? But in Daniel 7, he sees it as a bear. So this is the same. This is the same people here he's talking about. Daniel 8:2. It says, "And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was in Shushan, in the palace which is in the province of Elam." Okay, now it says Shushan there. Now Shushan, that's located in Persia. Okay, which you're gonna get right here. Salakia. Salakia. I don't know why that's doing that. That's the first time it ever did that. Hmm. Salaki. I don't know why it's low, but it goes into H78 Shushan, right? It says Shushan or Shusha means lily. So this is talking about where Shusha is located, which is the river of Eli, right? And actually, I'll just read the whole entire thing. So let me read the whole entire thing. So like in Daniel 8:2, and I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace which is in the province of Elam, which that's in Persia. Okay. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. And the river of Ulai, which I'll show right here. Okay, we're going to get this edification out. Okay. Bear with me. I should have had this already out. The river of Ulai is located, it's in Persia. Okay. So the river of Ulai would be right here in this area here, as you can see. That's the river of Ulai, which is in Persia, which is shown as Iran, which That's Persia. That's Elam. Elam is the modern day Persians. Okay, that's who Elam is. All right, and it says, and I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in a palace, which is in the province of Elam. Okay, Elam today is the modern day Persians. Okay, that's Elam, which the Persians, they descend from Shem. Okay, they descend from Shem. That's Elam, right? And it says, and I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai, and river of Ulai, that's in Persia. Okay, which we can prove that right here. That's where that river is located, which I was trying to show earlier. So when you go to Ulai, right? I said Ulai, Shushan, Salakia. Shushan, that river Ulai is located in Persia. It says Shushan or Shusha equals lily. It says the river. It says the winter residence of the Persian kings located on the river of Ulai or Kaispis. I'm saying it right. It says the same as H799 Shushan, a place in Persia, and that's where that's at. That's in Persia. Okay. Verse 3, it says, then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had two horns. Okay, a ram that has two horns. Okay, so it's giving you a ram. It's saying, see, Daniel saw a ram here. Okay, in this vision, he sees a ram, but in Daniel 7, he sees the bear. This is the same people that he's talking about. So it says, there stood before the river a ram which had two, it says two horns. All right, now these two horns, that's referring to, meaning that they're two different nations. All right, you had the Medes, which the Medes, they're Japhetic, and then you have the Persians, they're Shemitic. Okay, they're two different nations. All right, it says, and the two horns were high, right? Because the Medes, they're Japhetic, going back to Madai, and the Persians, they're Shemitic, going back to Elam. Okay, and it says, but one was higher than the other, and the higher was up last. So one was higher than the other. So the higher that came up last, that's talking about the Persians. Okay, that's talking about the Persians. So the Medo-Persian Empire, they're that bear, they're the silver. Okay, they're that bear, they're the silver. Okay, so we're going to read that again, going back to verse 4. I just want to break this part down. It says, and I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward. These were the areas that they conquered. And the first three cities that they conquered was Media, Libya, and Babylonia. Okay, those are the areas that they conquered, and those are the areas that they went. It says, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. It says, but he did according to his will and became great. And this is talking about the Medo-Persian Empire. That's what this is talking about. Let's go back to Daniel 2. Actually, Daniel 7. Let's go back to Daniel 7. Let's read verse 4 again. All right. Verse 5. Salakia. Verse 5 again. Daniel 7 and 5. Salakia. It says, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear. This is talking about the Medo-Persian Empire. It says, and it raised up itself on one side, right? Because one was mightier than the other. You had the Medes, and then you had the Persians. They were mightier. They were higher. They were greater. They were mightier, right? And it says, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it, right? It says between the teeth of it, and they set thrush onto it. It says, arise, devour much flesh. Okay, so this is talking about the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, let's go to Daniel 2 and 39. This is Daniel 2 and 39, right? And it says, after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior, right? Another kingdom, it says inferior and another, it says, and another kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And it says, after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee. And the kingdom that were inferior to them, right, with the Babylonian Empire was the second beast, right, which was the Medo-Persian Empire, and we just went into that. Okay, so that's who that second beast is, the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, and we went into the Medo-Persian Empire. So let's read Daniel 7:5. Let's go back to Daniel 7:5 again, because I just want to make sure I'm clarifying this. All right, and then we're going to go down to verse 6. Verse 5, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, right, the teeth of it, and they said, thrust onto it, arise, devour much flesh. All right, so the second beast is the Medo-Persian Empire. The 3 ribs in the mouth of it were Libya, Media, and Babylonia. All right, these were the first cities to be conquered by the Persian Empire. And that's the second beast, which is the breast of silver. All right, that's what that's talking about. So hopefully I cleared that up. We're gonna go down to 39 again, because it goes into the Greek Empire, which is that brass. Okay, so it says, and after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee. It says, and the third kingdom of brass. Okay, it says, which shall bear rule over all the earth. Now, this third kingdom of brass is the representation of the Greek Empire. That's who that's talking about. Okay, which is the brass. So you had the gold, which was the lion, which is the Babylonian Empire, and that was from 605 to 539 BC. Then you had the Medo-Persian Empire, right, which was 539 to 331 BC, which was the bear, right, which is that silver. Now that third kingdom is the brass, which is the Greek Empire, which was from 331 BC to 168 BC, which is that leopard, which we're going to get into right now. Okay, so that's the Greek Empire. That third kingdom, that's the Greek Empire, which was that leopard. We're going to go to Daniel 7, and we're going to read verse 6. Okay, it says, after this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of the fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, right? And dominion was given unto it. Okay, which this leopard represents Alexander the Greek. The 4 wings and the 4 heads represents his 4 generals, which is Ptolemy, Cassador, Seleucus, and Lysimachus. All right, and when they parted Alexander the Greek's kingdom after his death, right, which you can read in First Maccabees, which I'll get that out. It is pretty long, but I'll get it out. You know, just to sum this up, because I know Jake got a short attention span. This is First Maccabees 1:1. It says, and it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, it says, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes. It says that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Okay, so this is when Alexander the Greek Empire, right? Alexander the Great, etc. It says, and made many wars, and weighing many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, right? Verse and actually I'll get that. It says, and made many wars, and warmed many strongholds, and slew the kingdoms of the earth. Verse 3, it says, and went through the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quite before him, whereof he was exalted, in his heart was lifted up. It says, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. So we're going to go to, what is this talking about? This is talking about all that he had conquered. We're going to go to that. Okay, Alexander the Greek, right? areas he conquered. Okay, we're going to look at it in a map. So this is all that Alexander the Greek conquered. See, Macedonia. So he conquered from Macedonia all the way down to Egypt, Asia Minor, right? Mesopotamia, right? Mesopotamia, Media, all the way over here. You see that? So he conquered from here all the way across. So he conquered Macedonia, from Macedonia, Asia Minor, Assyria, Egypt. This is all that he conquered, right? This is all the territory of Alexander the Greek. Macedonia, right? Egypt, Media, Persia. He conquered all of that. That's all Alexander the Greek. Okay. Now, when he died, his generals took over the areas, and then they start going into war with each other. That's where the Diadochi Wars come in. Okay. But that's, making this too long. I ain't trying to make this too long. Verse 2, it says, and made many wars and reigned many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. It says, verse 3, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. It says, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. Verse 4, it says, he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Verse 5, it says, after these things he fell sick, Alexander the Greek did, and perceived that he should die. Verse 6, wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them, it says, while he was yet alive. So Alexander the Greek reigned 12 years and then he died. So after he reigned 12 years and after his death, his generals took over. Okay? They took over after his death. Okay? So they parted after Alexander's kingdom after his death. That goes to Diadochi Wars. You had Ptolemy taking over Egypt, right? You had Casandor, Seleucus, you had Lysimachus, right? You even had Antigonus, right? So all of these generals, they all were conquering the areas after Alexander the Great died. His generals took over certain areas and certain regions, but they also had to, going back again, the Diadochi Wars. It'll explain all of that. Going into that will make this lesson really long. Daniel 7:6. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. Right, that's talking about Alexander the Greek. It says, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. Because after Alexander's death, his generals took over. We read that in, First Maccabees, right? And then it says, read that part again. It says, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given into it. That's talking about the 4 generals of, represents the 4 generals of Alexander the Greek, which was Ptolemy, Castor, Seleucus, and Lysimachus. Okay, so now let's go back to Daniel 2, and we're going to read verse 40. Verse 40, right? And it says, and the 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron. The 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron. So the 4th kingdom represents what? The Roman Empire. Okay? Which in that time you had Julius, Augustus, Tiberius, right? I always get this dude's name wrong. If I'm saying the name right. Caligula, Nero, and Titus. Right? This is the Roman Empire. This is during the Roman Empire here. So that 4th kingdom represents the Roman Empire, right? Which is the legs of iron, as you can see here. And that was from 168 BC, right, to 476 AD. And that dragon, that's talking about the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire. Okay? That's who that's talking about there. Let's read it again. And it says, And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. Okay, so that is talking about the Roman Empire. Let's go to Daniel 7, and we're going to read verse 7. That's talking about the Roman Empire. Okay, it says, and after this I saw in the night's visions, and behold, a fourth beast. That's talking about the Roman Empire, which is that dragon. Okay, and it says, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It says, and it devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. It says, and it had 10 horns. So why was it diverse from the beasts of before? Because all the beasts of the kingdoms before it was a monarchy. When Rome came, they had a republic, exactly the same system we have today, set up today, right? It's the same back then. And this is Daniel 2 and verse 41. And it says, and whereas, thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay, right, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. And that's going into the divided kingdoms, which was headed into the revival of the Roman Empire. Okay, it says, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mix, it says the iron mixed with merry clay. See, and that clay, that represents heavy debt. You have the rich countries and the countries in heavy debt. Okay, this is verse 2. And it says, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And that's the iron and clay, the divided kingdoms, the revival of the Roman Empire, right? Which was America, okay? Which was that eighth head. When you think, going back to, I think it's Revelation 17 or 18, it talks about the seven heads, and then you had the eighth head among the seven, which the eighth head is America, okay, that comes out amongst the seven heads, right? And the mother of the eighth head was Great Britain, which came out of the seven heads, and America is the eighth head that comes out among the seven heads, which that eighth head is America, and the mother of the eighth head is Great Britain, right? So the mother of America is Great Britain. Okay. Read this here, verse Daniel 2 and 42. It says, and as the toes of the feet were clay, or it's like it says, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay. I was jumping the gun. Salakia. The kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Verse 43. And it says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with merry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is mixed with, even it says, even as iron is not mixed with clay, even though iron is not mixed with clay. And what's that talking about? These countries, all right, these different EU countries, okay, which we can get in Revelation. I might have to do a second part to this. We'll go to Revelation 13 and 1, and I'll probably do a second part tomorrow. Yeah. Revelation 13 and 1, it says, and I stood upon the sea. It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. It says, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. Okay. So that name of blasphemy, reading from the top, it says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of the blasphemy, okay, which represents Esau's power structure, Okay, that's what that represents. Esau's power structure. Okay, which we know the 7 heads, that's talking about the 7 rulerships of the Edomites, and the 10 horns, that's talking about the 10 European nations. Okay, that's going into Esau's power structure. That represents Esau's power structure there. Okay, because we know what those 7 heads and 10 horns are. Okay, verse 2, Revelation 13:2, it says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, right? And his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." And great authority, which is the start. The start of it was Greece, right? That was the start of its kingdom. Okay, the start of it was Greece, which was the start of its kingdom, all right? Which that bear represents Russia, and the mouth of the lion, that's Great Britain. Okay, and we're gonna go to verse 3. This is verse 3. Actually, I'll read up again. It says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto the leopard, and his feet," right? It says, "And his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth was as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." Okay, so which the start of it was Greece. That was the start of its kingdom, which was the bear represents Russia, and the mouth of the lion represents Great Britain, and that dragon is the EU, which is the NATO, that represents Esau's power structure. Okay, and we know that because that Marion Clay, that's the revival of the Roman Empire, and America is the modern day Roman Empire. Revelation 13:3. It says, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed," right? "And all the world wandered after the beast." All right, that deadly wound was Rome being taken down, according to Revelation, the 20th chapter. So he couldn't deceive the world anymore. His deadly wounds was healed, which is the European Union, which was that treaty, right? The Treaty of Rome, which brought them back together. All right, the wound was held, was healed going back to 1957, the Treaty of Rome. Okay, verse 4, it says, "And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war? Who is able to make war with him?" So who was able to make war with the EU and the NATO? All these other countries, all right? The Edomite rulership. Verse 5, and it says, "And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 42 months." 40 and 42 months. Verse 6, it says, "And he opened his mouth." It says, "And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, the blaspheme." It says, "To blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven." And that's this devil. And how was he able to do that? By setting up all these laws, that are contrary to these scriptures. That's how he was able to do that. He was able to do that by setting up all these laws that are contrary to the scriptures, man. Okay, that's how he was able to do that. Verse 7, and it says, "And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations." And the saints are the Israelites. So he overcame us. The Lord gave him the power to do that, to overcome us. He overcame us. He overcome us. All right, the Lord gave him power to do that. Verse 8, and it says, "And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain with the foundation of the world." Verse 9, "If any man have an ear, let him hear." Right? Verse 10. It's like in verse 10, it says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints." So everything that happened to us is going to happen unto them double. All right, and that's in Revelation 18. I want to get that out in verse 6. It's Revelation 18:6. Actually, I'll start at verse 5. It says, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities." See, the Lord ain't forgotten it. Verse 6, it says, her even as she rewarded you, and double on to it says and double onto her according to her works in the cup which she have filled to her double, right? All the pain, all the sorrow, all the destruction, she's gonna get that double. All right. This place called America, she's gonna get that double. All right. Esau, they're gonna get that double. This whore is gonna get it. This is Revelation 13 and 11. And I'll wrap it up with this. We'll continue on the next part. Revelation 13 and 11, it says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he spake as a dragon, which is Esau's power structure. The two horns represents his demise, which you have the Democrats and the Republicans. Okay, you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans. Okay, so I'm gonna end it there with that. I'm gonna finish the rest of this. Probably tomorrow, Lord willing. But I just wanted to do a lesson on this. I'm not done yet. There's still a lot to go into. So, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashemi Habashai, Bahashem Yahweh Kakwadash. Double honors to Yahweh Bashim Shai, and double honors to the elders and the apostles and bishops who will well and teach well, because those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers that are scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity, and shalom to you, sincere sisters that's listening to silence as scriptures command you to do so. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Hopefully through the spirit, because this is really long. I'll do another part tomorrow, maybe. But Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. On to the next one. Shalom.